Hey guys, what is up? NFL Sunday morning show. I'm with my guys Nikki Stees and James from Steelers by the Lake podcast. How you guys doing, man? We got to talk about Thanksgiving and Black Friday game. Oh God.
I'm doing well, but only because finally it looks like there's signs of hope for me in college football. So
Yeah.
we'll take a
Except
3-win winning streak.
I know where you're hiding, Tappy.
except for mine, we got a butt whoop by Ohio State.
Yeah, I saw where you're hiding on IG having a field day.
I didn't even see him. Honestly, I didn't even see that. Adam, what is up, man? How's it going? Thank you for stopping by. So, let's just get right into it, guys. Let's just get right into it by talking about the Thanksgiving games. The first one, the Packers defeating the Lions 34 to 21, or 31 to 24. There we go, flip flop. Let's start off with James, man. What do you have to say about this game?
It's kind of a big question of who are the real teams now. Like, we don't know. All the best teams from last year seem to be falling apart this year. The Lions looked like a juggernaut coming into this year, and the big question was, could they stay healthy or not? Other than the fact that Amon-Ra St. Brown goes down in this game, they've been pretty healthy this year and just can't put it together. So you have to start wondering, are the Packers a team that should be considered one of the elite teams now? Because they're starting to peak at the right time.
Nikki?
And the Packers, hey, I mean, they're pretty close with the Chicago Bears and let's not throw her on that. Week 14, we got Packers versus Bears. So that's going to be a big game to look forward to right there. So
Absolutely.
And actually, it's a perfect time of year. This is really the first time in probably since the 2010 NFC Championship game that Packers Bears is really a game we're looking forward to. And the Packers, their defense has been playing really well. Jordan Love, he's kind of hot and cold, but on Thanksgiving against that Lions battered secondary, he had an excellent performance, which makes me concerned about the Lions going against the Cowboys, but that's another subject. But it was a good performance on Thanksgiving. They get the sweep over the Lions for the season, and that's great for momentum going into the home stretch. We're still competing for the NFC North and possibly the first home playoff game since post Aaron Rodgers. So that's great for momentum. Now we just got to wait and see what they do against the Bears. And that's another subject too that's interesting.
Yep. And I'm just going to say this right out of the gate. I got every game wrong on Thanksgiving and Black Friday.
I got the Thanksgiving ones wrong. I kind of knew the Bears were going to win. I didn't want them to.
You got that one right?
Oh, wow. I'm like, yeah, Bears are probably going to win.
Yeah,
those
so
are tough
for
ones
me,
to pick, man.
very, very tough. And I'm just like, I'm still in first place. I'm still in first, so I'll take it. But yeah. So for me, man, it's just like I thought the Lions were gonna have this game. I didn't think Jordan Love would go off the way he did, and yeah, it's just another Thanksgiving game with the Detroit Lions. Just another one, and another one next year, and so on and so forth. So. Yep, and next up we got Big C is here. I'm gonna give him a minute for him to get ready. Let's get into the Cowboys and Chiefs. The Cowboys defeating the Chiefs 31 to 28. This is where my Thanksgiving went down. Let's start off with Nikki, man. Nikki, how do you feel?
Well, I've always said don't bet against Kansas City, but now after what happened Thanksgiving, this seems like the first time that Kansas City's really down and out. And particularly their defense, Trent McDuffie, he looked like basically he pulled an Anthony Brown against the Raiders. Remember when Anthony Brown for the Cowboys got flagged numerous times against the Raiders? That was Trent McDuffie for Kansas City here on Thanksgiving. Yeah. And the Dak Prescott is on a roll now. So you're talking about Kansas City team they become too over-reliant on a handful of good players. You have Mahomes. Rashid Rice actually had himself a decent game. Kelsey, I mean, he'll still occasionally flash brilliance. You'll still see those good games from him, but outside of that, you don't really see Kansas City with a whole lot of great players that can really be a difference maker, and it's starting to catch up to them now. The AFC's become more competitive, so there's more teams now buying in the mix. I mean, Kansas City, they're going to have to win out, but they're going to need some help along the way too.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's going to happen. Plus, Denver and the Chargers, those are going to be tougher games. I mean, I don't see it happening. Kansas City might get to maybe 9 wins or so, but they might miss out with a winning record. And the Cowboys, they've won their last couple games. Dak's been playing really good since the bye week. He put that Cardinals Monday night debacle behind him, and he's come back strong since. And when you look at the Cowboys schedule, I believe they still got to play Minnesota. That looks like a win. The Giants and Washington again. Even the Lions looks like it could be a winnable game this week. I don't know, Mitch. As an Eagles fan, might have to worry that the Cowboys might steal the division at the end of the season because it's looking pretty favorable for them now. And credit to Dak, though. He's been having a really good season without the same talent he's used to having. And now they're only 2 games back, so let's be realistic. It could happen. Obviously, I don't want it to, but it's possible.
Yep. So, Big C, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. The same talent he's not used to having. He's got the best wide receiver duel in the football right now. You know, Pickens has been a huge pickup for them. He's been absolutely fantastic. You know, he showed glimpses of what he could be in Pittsburgh, but he also had games in Pittsburgh. I think. Stop me if I'm wrong, James. Didn't he have a game last year where he had like 5 or 6 drops, like no receptions, just dropped every passes that was thrown his way? He's a straight diva, and now he's in Dallas, and he's looking like he could be the number 1 receiver on that football team. You know what I mean? Yeah. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb is the number 1, but I don't know if there's a better wide receiver duel in the NFL right now than besides in Dallas. And that offense is just, you know, they can score 40 any game. You know what I mean? They're just an explosive offense.
And to be fair, their defense has gotten a little bit better since the trade deadline. They're not perfect, but they have gotten better. And
well, Quentin Williams is a top 3 defensive tackle in this league. Yeah. I mean, you know, he's going to make you better. You know what I mean? He's definitely going to make you better. They got the guy from Cincinnati, Logan, the linebacker. Is that his name? Right. Yeah. Wilson. So they definitely added pieces.
I mean, and I'm happy for him. He's in a better team situation as a player. Even though I can't stand the team, he went to a better team situation. But that's another subject in itself. Lamar, what happened? You were playing against the historically worst defense, right? I mean, I know James loved seeing it.
Oh, it's great. I won't pull any punches. I loved seeing the Bengals beat up on the Ravens.
Man. And I'll say this about George Pickens. I feel like short term, him and CD is going to be great. I feel like in the long term, a few years from now, something's going to happen and eventually, but this might be a few years down the line. But as long as he's motivated and he's on the same page with his team, they're a dangerous threat on offense. Maybe in the long term, some of the bad personality traits catch up because we've seen that happen before with Cowboys receivers. It happened with T.O. It was great at first, but then in the long term, we saw the butting heads with teammates start to catch up. And we saw it with Dez Bryant. It eventually happened with him. So,
I mean, that was a different era. That was a different era of football, though, where, you know, you had to have the wide receiver, a clear number 1. There was only so many targets available. This day and age in football, you can throw the ball a million times. You can get both those guys 1,500 yards receiving, and it doesn't have to be whose dick's bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It don't have to be a dick swinging contest. So both these guys can be number 1s on the same team. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. They can throw the ball 40 times and each one of them have 15 targets, and you can keep both of them happy.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's a dream scenario for Pickens there. Just because while he was in Pittsburgh, he's getting double and triple teamed on every play. You can't do that while he's a Cowboy, not with CeeDee Lamb on the opposite side. So he's going to get those one-on-one matchups, and that's his specialty, is winning those jump balls and those contested catches. He's absolutely incredible at that stuff. The only reason he's not a Steeler anymore is because he kept on taking plays off. He refused to run block. If the ball was being thrown to the opposite side of the field and he knew it wasn't coming his way, he wouldn't even run his routes, and it was causing turnovers and causing some issues. And obviously for Pittsburgh, as a team that wants to be a run-first team, if you're a wide receiver that doesn't want to run block, they don't have any interest in you. So we'll see how it plays out long-term. He's having one hell of a season. I'm happy to see his success out there. But we'll see what it does long-term if he starts getting frustrated and if he has a couple of games where he doesn't have tremendous performances and does it start rearing its head when he takes plays off and not blocking.
Are you truly happy, James? Because I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed.
Here's the thing, Big C, is that I'm not sold that this is going to be long-term success for him. Just because he's been such an up and down dude with his personality. So, like, if it works out for him, great, man. This is going to be an opportunity for Pittsburgh to start trading wide receivers again and get some value in return again, because they were really cleaning up in the trade market for a while there, but had to settle for just a 3 and a 5 for Pickens because how badly they burned the Bears with a second round pick for Claypool. So, yeah, the more successful he is, the better it looks for everybody. Other than obviously, if you're not able to make that talent work for your team, that doesn't make you look good as a coaching staff in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So really quick here, let me address the chat, and then we'll continue with the Cowboys and Chiefs. So Michael on Facebook goes, the AFC teams are lucky KC may not make the playoffs, so one of those teams ain't gonna make the Super Bowl by default. And Aquavision said the best duo is Puka and Adams. That's a conversation we can have. What is up, Bo? How's it going, man? How's it going? And Aqua also says Pittsburgh didn't want another Antonio Brown. And what is up, Wesley? How's it going? So, yeah. Best duo, Puka and Adams, or CD and Pickens?
Or Case and Higgins.
Yeah,
like you can't just throw out Case and Higgins.
I'm taking Pickens. I'm taking Pickens and CD right now. I think the number one receiver in football is Jamar Chase, but Pickens is playing at another level right now. I think if you put him up against him, Puka's a great wide receiver. I don't think he's super explosive though. He's one of those route running. He's going to be there, sure hands. So
like Mike Evans.
He goes down the list a little bit for me as far as not taking anything away from the guy, but Devontae Adams getting up there in age, he's still catching a lot of touchdown passes.
Mike Evans is a great comparison, though.
Matthew Stafford is a great quarterback. He's going to get them the ball, but if this year I got CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens.
All right, James, what about you? The best wide receiver duo.
I mean, if you asked me 3 or 4 weeks ago, bless you, Mickey, I would have said Jamar Chase and Higgins because they had just come off a torch in Pittsburgh for like 400 yards. But since then, they've really cooled off. And I got to agree with Big C. I think the hottest duo right now is definitely CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. And it's, I would hate to be any team going up against them anytime soon because they just feel like they can drop 40 on anybody right now. And that's tough to beat a team that can put up that many points.
Mm-hmm. Nikki, if you're still there,
yeah, I'm still there.
All right, do you agree with them with CeeDee Lamb and Pickens being the best wide receiver duo?
It's between them and Puka and Adams. I'm gonna go with Puka and Adams, give them the slight edge because they've been the more consistent throughout the entire season thus far. Now we'll see how that holds up in December, but I'll give the slight edge to Puka and Adams, but it is a close one between those. Those are definitely the 1 and 2 best wide receiver duos this season for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just going to give the slight edge for now to the Rams duo.
All right. And Michael also says Pickens is a free agent after this season. The Eagles should trade Brown inside Pickens.
I don't know if they want that. I don't want that. Know if they want that kind of trouble.
No.
You know, there's not enough targets
No.
for AJ Brown. You don't start getting George Pickens the ball. You got a Pittsburgh situation all over again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but shout out to AJ Brown. He had a great game on Friday. That's
Well,
why we're getting our ass
typically
kicked. He
does
had
when
a great game.
He typically does when he goes and flips out a little bit and starts
Yeah.
going to the media. You know, they feel pressured to get him the ball.
Right. So, yeah. Big C, what about the Packers and Lions game? What do you have to say about that?
You know, both these teams, you don't know which team's going to show up on a week-to-week basis. Some weeks, each one of these teams looks like they could be the representative in the NFC for the Super Bowl. Other weeks, they're losing to the Cleveland Browns, or, you know, they're just laying eggs. So very inconsistent play from these guys. Overall in the NFL, this year has been very, very wish-washy. You know, you got the Eagles falling from they were up 21 against Dallas, losing that game, which I called. I think I was the only one on the set that picked that. But yeah, you know, just so many games that the underdog is winning. The team that you don't think is going to win is winning in the NFL, and it's like that all across the league. And I think, you know, the Super Bowl favorite changes week to week for me. You know what I mean? This is the one year that I can't say, all right, these two teams from the NFC, these two teams are from the AFC, and there's a 90% chance that one of the, you know, I can figure out who's going to be in the Super Bowl this year. You know, the list is deep. You know, I mean, there's 6-7 teams from each side that I wouldn't be surprised if they went on a run and made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that. And yeah, the Packers and Lions have been inconsistent week in and week out. And it's just like one of those games, it was going to be down to the wire. But Packers and Lions, that's the way it is. So, and what is up? What is up, Joe? This is only a hardcore I've watched where everyone keeps their clothes on. All right, then. All right, not the first time I've seen that.
we can change that.
He could. All right.
Some money in the chat. I might take my shirt off.
All right. Now let's talk about the Bengals and Ravens. We did talk about it for a little bit. So James, go for it, man. I don't know how you feel about this game.
It's just a crazy turn of events in this game, right? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, it looks like the Bengals know how to play defense. They got after Lamar and made him very uncomfortable this whole game. Lamar didn't look like himself by any means. He didn't look as quick as normal. He wasn't going through his reads. He didn't have any time. That offensive line for the Ravens was just as porous as it gets. So just crazy to me. You don't expect Joe Burrow to play bad football. He came back and he made some throws. I didn't think he was super crisp either. But just the difference, and I didn't think I'd be saying this for a second, the difference in this game was the Cincinnati defense. And I don't think any of us had that bingo card for sure, that somehow these guys would just be getting after Lamar and making him so uncomfortable the whole game to make the mistakes and fumbling the ball and throwing interceptions and just the stuff you haven't really seen from Lamar the last couple of years. It seemed to me like he had really fine-tuned his game. Everybody still has off games, I get it, but Lamar did not look right in this game at all.
Yeah, it's like, did somebody go into Madden franchise mode and force a win for the Bengals and simulate it? Like, what the hell happened? Because something just didn't. It seemed like an episode of The Twilight Zone or like a simulated force win on Madden, because it's not ordinary for this Bengals defense to actually have a decent game, especially against a star quarterback when they struggled against Aaron Rodgers, Caleb Williams. And don't get me wrong, Caleb Williams is coming to his own, but he's not really that level QB yet. So that says a little bit more about the Bengals defense. So that Bengals defense all of a sudden now finds a way to stop Lamar. Like, what happened? Something, either the Ravens were out partying for the holidays beforehand, or they didn't prepare properly for them, and it got exposed on the field. And sometimes you can tell by the result on the field whether a team properly prepared or not, even though you don't know the specifics. But if you watch the way the Ravens played, you're like, they did not properly prepare for this game on the offensive side of the ball. I understand it's a short week, but the Bengals had that same handicap too. So both teams had to deal with it. And the Ravens did not adjust to that scenario well.
You got to feel like some of these Bengals defenders too are kind of playing for their NFL careers. You got guys that are former first-round picks like Myles Murphy that was supposed to be this stud pass rusher who got buried on the depth chart. Well, he had himself a real nice game in that game, and he's going to rebuild his own personal value, which somebody has to do if Trey Hendrickson's out injured. Somebody's got to step up. Myles Murphy was one of the guys that did in this game.
I mean, maybe this is where Murphy gets his playing time and he finally flashes potential. We saw it here now. Let's see if he can keep that momentum going forward. Sometimes all a player needs is that playing time, like Tom Brady. All he did was get playing time, and all of a sudden he flashed his potential that many teams missed on.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, what is up, Hardcore for All? How's it going? Thank you for stopping by. Big C, any thoughts about this game?
Just another one of those games where, like I said, you think
Sharp.
You think the Ravens are gonna go on a run. They're finally healthy, and here comes Cincinnati with Joe Burrow just coming off IR. Higgins is out. Their defense is horrible, and they go and beat the team that is supposed to go on this super run and win the division. I do have to say that I think that the Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, and the Kansas City Chiefs, they've been the three top teams in the AFC for quite a few years now. And one thing I think they all have in common is they rely too much on the fact that they have superstar quarterbacks, and they don't build around them enough. If you look at those three teams, what do they all have in common? Their number one targets are tight ends. Where's the true number one receiver? Where's the Jamar Chase for Josh Allen? Where's the Jamar Chase for Patrick Mahomes? Where's the Jamar Chase for Lamar Jackson?
They let him go into the agency.
They rely too much on these guys being superheroes, and they cannot continue to do it. All these quarterbacks are getting up there in age. These other teams, if you got a well-built, well-rounded team, they're going to beat a superstar quarterback any day, anytime. I take the well-rounded team every time. And I think it's starting to catch up to these three teams. And, that's why you see in Buffalo stumble. That's why you see Kansas City stumble, and you see in the Ravens stumble. And I think they need to go and get them true weapons so they can take advantage, because out of those three teams, the only one that's got Super Bowls is Patrick Mahomes. And he got some of those Super Bowls when he did have an elite wide receiver in Tyreek Hill. So I think it's this loss is a mixture of just Lamar Jackson not having stars on his football team on the offensive side of the football. They've always had a good defense, but their wide receivers, they got some speed guys. They got, but truly lacking a number one. They got great tight ends. Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, great tight ends. But where's your game-changing wide receiver?
Yeah. So, really quick, we got a question for James from Hardcore for All. Is Aaron Rodgers playing today?
Yeah, he should be starting today. He practiced in full the last 2 days. So he's expected to start, which should be an improvement off of what we saw from Mason Rudolph last week.
Oh, okay. And Grandizer, wow, I haven't seen you in God knows how long. Hopefully everything's going well, man. And Hardcore for All says Bears look like bracket busters. I can definitely agree to that.
Absolutely.
And the coach can make noise. And Vic says, don't worry, Lamar will take his anger out on Pittsburgh next week.
I hope you're wrong.
Come on, Vic, man.
Everybody heard the news about Daniel Jones, right? He's playing with a broken fibula or something. Like,
Jeez.
Like how long is that really gonna last? That's
Yeah.
what, one hit away from you being on a stretcher. You know what I mean? Like, what's the backup quarterback situation looking like over? You go with the Anthony Richardson. Is that the same football team? You have the same confidence in them?
Not a chance. Yeah, not a chance. They don't win any games with Anthony Richardson at QB.
So you got a Colts team that may be one of the favorites in the AFC, but if Daniel Jones goes down, they could fall off the side of the earth. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Hardcore for All says, I did not hear the James news. And yeah, Grandizer, everything's going well here, man. Missed you. So, Nikki, I think it's now we talk about Black Friday.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Let's start off with James on this one, man. I want you to talk about this game, and then Nikki and I, after Big C, will give you our perspective as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, I feel a little bit better about the Steelers losing to the Bears after the Bears coming in and beating the Eagles.
Yeah, Vic said the same thing to me.
Yeah, it doesn't sting quite as bad, but the Bears have just been another one of those teams this year where you just can't figure out which team's going to show up, but they have been getting more consistent as of late. And they do have some weapons, man. The wide receiver core there is pretty good. Some young dudes that can separate and really run. And Caleb is kind of taking it up a notch, you know. He always had the potential. That's why he was such a high draft pick. But now he's kind of putting some things together and really kind of picking apart some defenses. He's able to recognize when there's matchups and when there's weaknesses in certain defenses. And just kind of attack down the field. He's not going to go at your star players. He's going to go at the holes, and he's going to go at the weaknesses in the defense. So I think he's really putting it together here. We'll see how far of a run they can make. I don't necessarily have faith that the Bears are going to be like a Super Bowl contender, but they could really mess some things up for some teams that were thought to be Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah. Big C, what about you, man?
The Bears have been better than what I thought they were going to be. Again, that NFC North is who knows who's going to win it. You got three teams all clumped together up there. The Bears are starting to put wins together, meaningful wins. They beat the Steelers. They beat the Eagles. They were able to run the ball fantastically. That helps Caleb Williams. Like you said, Caleb Williams got all the talent in the world. He was a phenomenal college quarterback. Ben Johnson's done a phenomenal job up there. I think a lot of their issues last year was with coaching. A lot of coaching mistakes last year that cost them games. So I think the longer that Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, the better that the Bears are going to be. Do I have a great deal of confidence in the Bears when it comes to playoff time? No, but this is a step in the right direction for them. And, I ain't got too much more to say about it, but that, you know what
All right.
I'll tell you what, that front office is looking really smart for going out and paying top money to get a new center and 2 new guards in free agency, because that's given Caleb the time to be comfortable back there and not have to worry about having jittery feet. So sometimes that's some of the best things you can do is solidify that offensive line and spend top money there.
Mm-hmm. All right, Nikki, you're up, man.
Okay. Now let's get the negative part out the way. The Eagles. This is what happens when you have a inefficient offensive mind, say in the signal call. You get Kevin Patullo, who's never called plays before, now trying to call the plays. He designs predictable plays that use a one-dimensional player rotation, the same guys. It's Barkley, Brown, Smitty, Goddard. And the rest of the league is caught on to that. And that's why they're unable to move efficiently. And secondly, the play calling so predictable. Run up the middle, short pass, long pass. I mean, they at least try to rotate it up, pitch, screen pass, RPO, something. They got to get out of the same predictable play calling because teams are picking up on it, and that's why they're moving inefficiently. And I saw their offensive efficiency rate is lower than the Jets this season. And I believe that because even despite the Jets' record, they've had a few games where their offense was competitive. See week 1 against Pittsburgh, see the game against Tampa Bay. Even though they lost those games, their offense actually made an effort to move the ball and at least kept the games competitive. So even the Jets, as horrible as they are as a team, are at least better offensively in terms of moving the football. This team, fresh off a Super Bowl win with much better roster, that's on paper has all the upside and could still theoretically make the playoffs, is somehow worse off than the Jets, who are contending for the tank bowl. And that goes to the horrible offensive play call. Now you see and not to mention, they made a horrible call going for a field goal instead of trying to go for it late with less than a minute down 8. At least have the guts to try and go for it. At least try. But the fact that they kicked the field goal, hoping it would be good and hoping they get an onside kick, goes to show really how much confidence they truly have in that offense, which is none. And that speaks to a bigger problem there. When you got all this talent fresh off a Super Bowl win, you don't have the confidence to go for it down by a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, less than a minute in the game. That's a problem there. Now with the Bears, they're the opposite. They brought in an offensive mind who actually knows how to call plays, who knows what they're doing, paid him good money to be the head coach, along with bringing in some guards in a center. And actually, you see what happens when you have a competent offensive mind calling plays. It took a few weeks, but once they got going, starting with that week 3 game against the Cowboys, they rode a wave of momentum, and now they've won a bunch of games. Now, are they all the way there yet as contenders? No, but they're winning their division. They got 9+ wins. It's going to be their first winning season since 2018. Because remember, 2020, they were 8-8 and snuck in. But now all of a sudden the ship's rolling with the Bears. They don't have the greatest talent, but they have an offensive mind who knows how to make the most of what they have. And they're winning games. Now that for the future, hey, if you get a few more talented players sold on the Bears as a team for the future, you can convince a few top free agents to come join the bandwagon. And maybe in a year or two, you are contenders with Ben Johnson. So the Bears, on the other hand, that goes to show that coaching can change everything. You see the Rams with McVay, how he's turned the ship around year 1, and they've been to 2 Super Bowls, won 1 since. Now, Ben Johnson, could we be at the beginning of something special? Perhaps, but time will tell. But there's plenty of potential for it. That's what happens when you hire a competent mind to run the ship. So I give the Bears credit. They're doing what the Eagles were doing.
All right. So for
you
me,
guys. Sorry.
No, you go. You go.
I mean, you guys are Eagles fans, and you talked about the offense, but this defense, you know what I mean? You go and you trade for Jalen Phillips. Brandon Grahams comes back from retirement. You know, Nakobe Dean comes back. Yet you give up 281 yards in rushing to the Bears. You know what I mean?
Part of the problem is the offense does so little that eventually the defense gets burnt out from having to carry the team.
Well, maybe so, but 281 yards is, you know, to Swift. Swift is an all right back, but he's not, you know, I don't think he's a top 10 running back. And
I'll be
the
fair,
other
this
guy,
was a revenge game for Swift. It's like, hey, I tried to join you guys 2 years ago. You didn't use me. Payback time.
Yeah, I mean, revenge game. How much of this is on the quarterback? Because I've always been, you know, I've always said that, and you guys gave me a lot of slack earlier about my feeling about Jalen Hurts and me saying that he's not that great of a quarterback. He's just surrounded with so much talent. And the fact that he can't get the ball to his playmakers, you got A.J. Brown out there bagging for the football. You know, I just think that a lot of this falls back on Jalen Hurts' mediocre quarterback play. And I don't think he's a phenomenal athlete. He can run the ball. He can do the tush push, you know what I mean? But as far as throwing the football, there's a reason that Tua took his job in college. You know what I mean? There is a reason. This guy's not as good as what people want to think he is. He's just been surrounded with extreme talent, and I think it's catching up to the Eagles a bit.
Here's the thing for me about Jalen, right? I haven't always been the biggest Jalen Hurts fan. I haven't always supported him when we first drafted him. And then once it's just about winning, like once everyone talks about him, winning a game, like that's all you do is win. I'm like, that's something to cover all the other flaws of his quarterback abilities, right? The throwing, the accuracy, and all that, which is good. But then once you look at it, it's just like when you actually dissect it, the play, it's just like it's not that good. And Hardcore for All said it in the chat right here. Jalen's at fault here. He has enough experience and makes too many mistakes. The play calling is not changing. Jalen has to play better. I agree. I agree with that. There's only so much that Kevin Patullo can do. Does he have to go? Hell yeah, he's got to go. So I'm just saying Jalen's just not having the best year right now. He's not. Yeah. Grand Nicer said, did you guys see that stat about linebackers with the most interceptions and the Bears linebackers have like the 3 in the top 10 list? I did not see that. I did not see that at all. Barkley hasn't been the same at all. And it comes down to our offensive line with the injuries.
Yeah.
The offensive line is
Lane
not
Johnson.
the best. Lane Johnson's the biggest one. And then Cam Jurgens being out. So the offensive line has just been the worst.
Right, and you can't rely on Lane Johnson forever. He's getting to the twilight years. You got to have a suitable replacement ready or go out and find one.
Yeah, what's Lane, about 53 years old by now?
Pretty much. Anyway,
in football sense.
Yeah.
He's still a hell of a player, don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
he's old.
Vic goes, why are we blaming the quarterback? The entire Eagles team is having a down year. Here's the thing, what are we, 8-4, Nikki? 9-4? 8-4. It's like, it's crazy. This feels like, what, 2023? What was it?
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
it's because people were throwing Jalen Hurts' name up after they won the Super Bowl. They're throwing him up in his name up in that elite category. Where's the eliteness at? Where is the putting the team on his back and carry them over their difficulties? Because if there were a true threat to run past the football, they'd be able to run the football. Saquon is having a down year after last year. Last year, he was absolutely phenomenal. One of the best seasons in all of football history. You said something about the play calling, just running straight up into the line. Where's the pitches at? Where's the roundabouts? Where's the the different types of plays? And the New York Giants did a lot of that with Saquon. They used to run him right up the middle, run up the middle, stuffed. He's a guy that's great in space. You had the backwards jump over the guy. He is super athletic, super elusive. So to run him straight up the middle is asinine. But if Jalen Hurts could put this team on his back, get the ball to his playmakers through the air, you got a good tight end, you got 2 good receivers. That would open up the running game for you guys. Not to mention Jalen Hurts can run the football. You know what I mean? So you should be able to run the football. You should be able to open up holes for Saquon Barkley. But Jalen Hurts, everybody wanted to throw his name in that elite category. He's not that.
Mm-hmm. And Vic goes, it's a Madden curse. That's exactly what I've been saying. He's a cover athlete on that. So I'm like, here we go. But here's the thing. Tank Bigsby has been killing it on the ground as of late, but he did not get the ball on Friday at all. So I'm like, Barkley is that guy. He's that dude. But you got to give Bigsby the ball. He's a third down guy. Give it to him. He can average 9 yards per carry on the ground. So
exactly. They're in short. Perfect guy for those situations, but they're not doing it.
It is what it is.
I feel your pain. I feel your pain. I feel like every third and short opportunity Pittsburgh has, they have the wrong running back on the field like every single time. It's
who? Gainwell?
there. Yeah, they're like our smallest receiving back is the guy out there instead of one of the bigger, stronger, short yardage dudes. Like,
Yeah,
it blows
but
my.
credit to Gainwell. He's having a good year, right? He's
He-
been going up and down.
He's had a couple of real nice games for Pittsburgh. And the key is the usage. Get him out in the open field. He is elusive. He's just not a power dude. You can't use him that way.
Yeah.
So as long as you're giving him some space and some room to work, he'll make some guys miss. But he's never going to be confused with a feature back. That's not who he
Right.
is. And like somebody gets their hands on him and he's going down. So you just got to get him out in the open and get him a little bit of room, and that's where he makes his plays.
Yeah, he is a Super Bowl champion, though. I'll
is.
give him that. I'll give him that. So, all right, let's get into. And do you guys have anything else to say about this game before we get into the trivia part? Like, let's call Nikki. You got anything? To go or no? All right, let's just move on here. We're going with the Thanksgiving theme. Questions. So, which NFL team has played the most Thanksgiving Day games? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, I'm just telling you, these questions are easy, so we can just move them by. Especially this one. Who scored the famous butt fumble on Thanksgiving? I honestly forgot about the butt fumble being on Thanksgiving.
We're talking about Mark Sanchez fumble, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember who
Yeah.
scored on it.
I
I
don't even.
remember Sanchez running right into that offensive lineman.
I remember
I don't
Vince
remember.
Wilfork played a role in it.
I just forgot it was on Thanksgiving. That's the thing. I thought it was just a regular Sunday, but no, it's on Thanksgiving. All right, James, you should get this one. Who was the quarterback who started the Thanksgiving game where the Steelers were prison-style throwbacks?
I mean, by the fact that he's asking, and I should get it. Was it not Ben Roethlisberger?
It is Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay.
I just have to say it was Ben Roethlisberger. So, yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Bills Steelers for game of the week? Is that the game of the week, or is it another game?
I'm not sure what the game of the week is. They are definitely playing today, though.
Yeah, because for game of the week, that's what I have. So I'm like, might as well. I mean, let me see any other games we can bring up.
It's real important for both teams for playoffs. They've both
Yeah.
of them need to start streaking some wins together, or it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and especially I saw someone in the chat. I think his name was Michael. He said the Bills are frauds, and I'm like, I don't think they are.
There's somebody that agrees over here.
Oh yeah, yep. I'm on another tab, so I can't really. Yep. Is that true?
I think it's an understandable thing to say. Go ahead, Big C. You're the expert on this one.
Well, I mean, their defense is sus. They can't stop the run. Josh Allen, Lex, he's getting back to the Josh Allen that we've seen in the past. Last year, he eliminated the turnovers. He's back to turn the football over. He lacks a true number one target. And like I said, the defense is sus. You can score on the Buffalo Bills. You can put pressure on the Buffalo Bills and put them in bad spots. And I think it's shown up this year. They're not the Bills of the last few years where they look like they're Super Bowl bound besides running into the Kansas City Chiefs. Now this year, it looks like they're going to be free and clear of the Kansas City Chiefs, but are they going to do their part and make it there? Again, if they run into a team like the Indianapolis Colts and Jonathan Taylor, they're going to be in big trouble because they cannot stop the run.
They are the 30th ranked run defense in the NFL right now, and that is a major problem. And it doesn't look like help is on the way because a lot of the guys that are making it this bad are out or on the injured reserve. Ingram isn't coming back to help. Was it Boyd was the other defensive lineman, I think. He's already out too. Like, just there's no help coming. They're starting offensive tackles. Both of them are out for today's game. So they're just a combination of missing talent at key positions and the talent they do have being injured all at the wrong time. It's easy to call them a fraud right now because I think their play is not anywhere near as good as it has been in the last few years. But it's a bad combination of injuries and And I couldn't agree with Big C more. He needs a number one target. He doesn't have it. When your best receivers are probably your two tight ends, that's a problem.
And they had an opportunity. They had a trade on the table for Jalen Waddle. And I'm not I'm not a Jalen Waddle guy that sits here and pretends that he's a true full blown number one wide receiver. But Jalen Waddle would have done wonders for that offense. And the reason they didn't make the trade is the difference between they didn't want to give up a 2026 first rounder instead of a 2027 first rounder. Do what you got to do. Screw those picks and get your quarterback, your all-time great quarterback, the weapons he needs so you can at least get one Super Bowl. If Josh Allen goes through his whole career and does not get a Super Bowl, you did not do that man justice. You wasted one of the greatest quarterbacks this league has ever seen as far as dual threat, the new age type of quarterback. He's going to go down as one of the greatest of all time. And that pains me to say, you know what I mean? But if he goes through his whole career and he's only getting older and you don't get him a Super Bowl, not one, you let that team, you let that city, you let that franchise down.
Yeah. So, Nikki, you agree with them that the Bills are overrated or frauds, rather?
This season, absolutely. I don't even think they're frauds anymore because we've seen them get exposed. Now that we've seen them lose to the Texans, who are a solid unit, not a great unit, but they're pretty underrated as a defense.
That defensive front is on serious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We saw them shine against the Bills. And then you also had them lose to Big C's Dolphins, who have underachieved in the game they were favored to win. Now you've seen their win was against Tampa, but let's be real. Tampa started to fall apart too, and the cracks have shown. Now Baker Mayfield has a shoulder injury. Remember the last time this happened, his final year in Cleveland? So now Tampa's in trouble too. And I think the Buffalo Bills now, we've seen that they're a team relying on one player to carry them, and it's not working anymore. I don't even consider them contenders at this point, with the Patriots looking great, the Colts so far looking like juggernauts. You've had those teams, and now the Denver Broncos looking like they're rejuvenated with Sean Payton. I don't think they're really contenders anymore. I can't consider them frauds now that we've kind of seen who they really are.
Yeah. And someone, Aquavision, said in the chat, actually, when you got Cook running the way he is, not many excuses you can make for Allen. James Cook was having a hell of a season. Didn't he get injured at one point? I think he did, right? Yeah. So.
Well, the Buffalo Bills, they still got some tough games left. They got the Eagles left. They got a Bengals team that they typically struggle against the Bengals and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow and the Bengals just went and beat, the Ravens. They got the Patriots left, which you name the Patriots, you name the Broncos, both the Patriots, I'm going to give the Patriots credit, but the Patriots probably got the easiest schedule in all of football. If you go and look at their schedule is laced with nothing but teams under 500 records. They should be winning those football games. The Denver Broncos, they've won a lot of last second football games that they probably shouldn't have won. So they really shouldn't be sitting on top of their division. They're not as good as advertised. So that's why I say this conference is still wide open. If Pittsburgh makes the playoffs, or the Super Bowl, I won't be surprised. If Buffalo could make the Super Bowl, I won't be surprised. It's just so wide open this year that there's not a real favorite. And if a team gets hot down the stretch, they can definitely get there. And it makes me sad that my Dolphins are in the position that they're in because, if this was 2 years ago, we'd have a real shot. But now, when it's wide open and it looks like anything is possible, we're sitting here with our tails tucked between our legs in a tough spot. So, but Bills still might not make the playoffs. Who knows?
Yeah, right. What is up, AK? How's it going, man? And we have a question for Grandizer here. Are we talking about teams that the Super Bowl windows have closed? Which teams have their windows starting to close? Well, I can answer that one with my team. I can answer that with mine. The Eagles are one. If you guys have any other teams that their Super Bowl windows have closed, who do you think? So Eagles are around. Eagles are around.
I mean,
I don't think the Eagles' window's closed. You know, I mean, I don't think any of these windows are closed just because I think it's wide open. I think everybody's window's open this year. You know what I mean? Like any team, literally any team that has a record that can get into the playoffs can legit get hot for 3 games and get to the Super Bowl. I don't think that's a year that, you know, there's no truly dominant teams. You can look at the Rams, that the Rams are on a pretty good streak. You know, I think
anybody.
I think if you look at the Rams, they're probably the one team that I point out and I'm like, yeah, they look like they might be the favorite right now. But again, there's 5 or 6 teams this year in each conference that you can't really say you'd be surprised, right? You can't really say it, you know.
Well, honestly, I think the Chiefs Super Bowl window has been closed. I don't think they're making the playoffs at this point.
I would say a lot of the teams that were contenders in previous years in the AFC fit that description currently. The Ravens and Bills for this season.
Well, I mean, there's still the Ravens and Bills can still make the playoffs. The Chiefs can still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Is their back up against the wall? Yeah. But we've seen Patrick Mahomes go on runs. We've seen Josh Allen go on runs. We've seen Lamar Jackson go on runs. I wouldn't say that their windows closed. And when we talk about windows, we're talking about, at least as far as I'm concerned, is your chance to go to the Super Bowl in multiple years. Like, is your Super Bowl window closed? Did you miss your opportunity? Maybe one of these teams have fumbled this year, but I don't think that necessarily means their Super Bowl window's closed, even if they don't make the playoffs this year. Maybe they just had a down year. You know what I mean?
As far as those 3, assuming respectively those 3 teams could make the playoffs, if Kansas City, despite having the longest odds, were to make it, they would have the best shot of going on a run. I can't really say that about Baltimore and Buffalo because we've seen with stronger teams them collapse come playoff time, respectively, than the Bills and Ravens.
But they got such great quarterbacks that those quarterbacks they can elevate themselves so much against these other teams that, you know, Josh Allen has 3 straight games with scoring 6 touchdowns. How you stop that? You know what I mean? If Josh Allen just goes nuclear, what are you going to do about that? You know what I mean?
Right. With Lamar, as great as he is, we haven't seen that same momentum carry over into the playoffs yet.
I'll give you a good example of exactly what Big C is talking about. With the right quarterback goes nuclear and you end up winning a Super Bowl that nobody sees coming. The last one, Baltimore won. That was Joe Flacco, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco was incredible that postseason. He had no interceptions. The amount of touchdowns he threw was incredible. He was torching everybody. And then the next year he came right back down to earth. So there might even be like a tier 2 or tier 3 kind of quarterback that just puts it all together at the right time. Once you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. So if your team around you is good enough and your QB can do it for a couple games stretch, that's all you need.
A perfect example of a team getting hot at the right time was the 03 Carolina Panthers. I know that's a throwback, but at first it was like, okay, they won the NFC South. That was a surprise at the time. All right, good job. Then they beat the Cowboys in the opening round, which was kind of expected, but then they got the upset in that double OT against the Rams. Steve Smith Sr. with the walk-off touchdown. Then Ricky Manning Jr. ripped me and Mitch's hearts out in the NFC Championship game, and all of a sudden they made it to the Super Bowl against all odds. And they put up a valiant fight against the Patriots in that game.
Well, that's the thing, too, that there's no dominant teams this year. So if a Josh Allen, if a Lamar Jackson, if a Patrick Mahomes gets hot and plays out of their mind, you know, there's no stopping them. There's no, you know, I think the Eagles got a great all-around team. Detroit's got a really good all-around team. Jared Goff, I feel like, is holding them back a little bit. Not only is Jared Goff holding them back, everybody gives credit to Dan Campbell for his play calling, his big nuts, letting them hang all the time. He's hurting that football team going forward on fourth down all the time. He is hurting that football team, leaving points on the board consistently. I just don't get it. The last 8 or 9 times Detroit's gone for it on fourth down, they haven't gotten it. And we're not talking about at the 50, right outside of field goal range, but it don't make sense to punt. We're talking about points that they could put on the board, and they're electing not to go for it, and they're not getting it, and they're leaving themselves hanging. You know what I mean? And I think that Dan Campbell needs to peel it back a little bit and realize, hey, sometimes I got to take the points. Yeah. You know, if you're down 2 scores and you decide to go for it inside your 30 when you can make it a 1-score game, that's stupid. That defeats the logic of football. That defeats everything that we've ever learned about football. If you can make it a 1-score game, you make it a 1-score game. If you have the opportunity at the end of the game to take the lead, you take the lead. That's been a thing in football forever. Yeah. You know what I mean? You don't go for it on fourth down if it's tied, if you're inside the 20 and can take the lead with a minute left. No. Right. Dolphins did that a couple weeks ago. They were down at the 2-yard line against the Commanders, tie game, minute 45 left, and they go for it and they get stuffed instead of taking the lead. What the hell are you doing? You know what I mean? And Dan Campbell's doing way too much of that.
I hate Dan Campbell. I mean, against us, right? He gone for every fourth down imaginable. And now it's just like, we were talking about Madden curse. He's playing Madden right now. That's the only thing I can say.
Yeah. I remember that came back to bite them in the NFC Championship game against the Niners. That first time they went for it, they failed. And that pretty much did a 180 with the momentum of the rest of that game. Then the 49ers made their comeback. And it ended up being a close game because there was like 2 times they went for it on fourth down. They could have tried a field goal that could have made a difference in the final outcome and gotten the Lions to the Super Bowl. Now, I still think Kansas City would have won that Super Bowl, but at least then the Lions could have made a Super Bowl. And who knows what that would have done with momentum. But the point is sometimes that going for it on fourth down comes back to bite you. That conference championship, the most notable example. And we've seen it a couple times this season. They keep going for it, and it comes back to bite them.
Especially when you're leaving points on the board. Like I can deal with, if you're at the 50 and, it's a little bit too long for a field goal, but, you don't want to punt. I can deal with that. But if you have an opportunity for points, you take the goddamn points. You know what I mean? Unless it doesn't make sense. If you're down by 6 and there's a minute left, you don't take the points, obviously. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if you're down 2 scores in the middle of the third quarter, you take the points and you get it down to 1 score. Because you never know. You get 3 field goals, you win the football game. Instead of, now you're in a situation where you still need a touchdown and a field goal. Makes no sense.
Right. Yep. All right. What is your guys' upset of the week? Let me pull up the schedule real quick here. God, I hate this screen process. You gotta click that, and there we go. So these are all the games for today. If you guys had to pick one game as your upset, what would that be?
I could see the Cardinals beating the Bucs with Baker Mayfield. Is he playing or not?
They have him listed on DraftKings, so I don't,
he'll play.
Yeah, and even then he's playing with his non-throwing shoulder less than 100%. We saw how this worked last time in Cleveland, and with the Bucs momentum going downward trajectory, I could see the Cardinals getting an upset win here because even with them being a bad team, their defense is actually better than some people in their record would indicate.
Yep.
So I could see that as an upset.
Alexander says he got the Browns over the Niners.
Possible.
And Vic said the Raiders over the Chargers.
And with the Browns, I'll say this. With Shedeur, you haven't really seen a full sample size of him, so he could catch the 49ers by surprise and make a few plays they don't expect. So that could be an upset too.
Well, I think it's more about their defense. Their defense is really good. Myles Garrett's on a different planet. That's definitely a game when I was looking at FanDuel and I was making my picks. That game did give me a little bit of a pause, and I was like, I could see Cleveland pulling that one out. Another game that kind of had me worried was the Jets over Atlanta. That one gives me a little bit. Pittsburgh over Buffalo. Buffalo's favorite in that football game. I think Pittsburgh, if they're able to establish the run, they can beat the Buffalo Bills. How good is that defense over there in Pittsburgh, James?
Depends on what week you're looking at them.
Yeah.
That's everything, man. One week they'll just stuff a team completely and hold them to 13 points, and then the next week they'll get torched for 35, and you don't know who's going to show up. So the wild card for them this week is they're going to be without Derek Harmon, the first round defensive lineman. So if the Bills' game plan is correct, they run right at his replacement, and that could be a real problem for Pittsburgh. But we'll see. That's definitely the biggest challenge they've got. They've had plenty of weeks. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, they held Swift to like 20 yards on like 8 or 9 carries or something. So when they focus on a guy, they shut him down. But how are they going to play? It's a lot of it has been the play calling and how aggressive does the secondary play. When they play off coverage, they just get torched by everybody and anybody. When they play aggressive, tight man coverage, they seem to have a lot of success with shutting people down. So if they're smart and they play aggressive, tight man coverage and kind of pack that lineup, they should be able to give the Bills a real problem here, especially with both starting offensive tackles out.
Yeah. So is that your upset, James, too?
Not a chance, no. I don't have enough faith in the Steelers team the way they're playing hot and cold right now to go out on a limb and say they're going to beat the Bills right now, even though I don't think the Bills are playing very good football either. But, yeah, I don't really like any of these upsets, to be honest with you. I guess if my hands are tied, I'll take the Jets just because I don't have much faith in the Falcons. But I don't really like too many underdogs this week.
And then Alexander says Titans could upset the Jags, maybe. I don't know about that one, but for me, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go Steelers over the Bills. I just got that feeling. And watch me pick the Bills in my pick'ems. Watch, I'm gonna be stuck in that predicament again. If you guys have a lock of the week, pick a game. Who's your lock? I'm trying to figure one out. I might have to go Miami over New Orleans.
That's where I'm going. Miami over New Orleans. Miami's won 3 of the last 4. We get our right tackle back. We get Darren Waller back. The defense has been playing much better. Devon Achane has looked like one of the top 5 running backs in all of football, at least as an all-around back. He's been phenomenal. So I like the Dolphins to beat the Saints at home today. That's my lock.
All right, Nikki, James.
Well, I'll go Chargers over the Raiders.
Okay.
I was between that one and the Broncos over Commanders, so I'll take the Broncos over the Commanders. That should be an ugly game today. They should crush them.
All right, and then now we're gonna go right to the predictions. So, Niners at the Browns. I think I took the Niners on this one.
I'm going to take Cleveland.
Okay. All right, Nikki,
I'm going
James?
49ers. I don't have a lot of faith that Shador is going to be able to put up a good performance on a regular basis.
It's not going to be good. It's going to be legendary.
All right, Nikki, who you got?
I'll go with the 49ers, but that could be a close one, especially with, the 49ers are down their 2 best defensive players, and the Browns with Myles Garrett, he's having a career year this year. And Shador, I mean, you never know with the 49ers being down, he might have a surprise game, possibly, but I'll go with
Judkins has been
49ers,
really good too, man.
mainly with Run CMC
Right. Oh my God.
and with George Kittle back.
Yep. Jaguars at the Titans. I took the Jags.
Yeah, I'm going with the Jags.
Yeah, I think the Titans got their one win of the year. I don't see another one coming.
Who would they
Yeah, I got-
beat again?
I don't even remember, but they probably had no business winning it.
Someone
I
in
got
the
the
chat,
Jags.
let me know. You got the Jags. All right. Texans at the Colts. I took the Colts.
I'll go with the Colts.
Yeah, I'm not bucking the trend. I'm going Colts over Texans too.
See, this is a tough one, man, because Daniel Jones is one hit away from going on that sideline, and Houston can definitely put that hit on him. But I'm going to take the Colts until that happens.
Yeah. All right. Saints at the Dolphins. I took the Dolphins.
I'll take the Dolphins too.
Yeah, I'll jump off the deep end with you guys and go Dolphins on the win.
And Big C is going with the Dolphins, I feel. Yeah, he already said
That
that,
was,
earlier.
that was my lock.
Yeah. Falcons at the Jets. I took the Falcons.
I'm taking
I'll
the
stay with the Jets on my upset pick here.
Nikki?
I'll go with the Falcons.
All right. Cardinals at the Buccaneers. I took the Buccaneers. I need a win. I got 4 wrong the past weekend. I need a win at some place.
I feel like Tampa's one of those teams I don't think I've picked it correctly very often this year, but even saying that, I'm still going to take them to win today.
I said this before and I'll say it again. I'm done picking the Lions. I am absolutely done with them. I don't want my prediction to go for it on every 4th down possible. So, yeah. All right. Who'd you guys pick? Big C, Nikki?
I said I got the upset here. I'll go with the Cardinals.
Yeah,
All right.
Arizona's been playing better with Brissett. I'm worried about Baker's shoulder. If Baker can make it through the game, I like the Bucks. If he goes out early, all bets are off.
Mm-hmm. All right. Rams at the Panthers. You know what?
Rams.
This is my lock. This is my lock. The Rams are playing on fire right now.
Yeah, Rams are just maybe the best team in football right now. They look very, very good. And the Panthers, I think, are playing better than I expected them to, but nowhere near good enough for me to expect them to beat the Rams.
Yep.
I like the Rams.
Nikki, you took the Rams?
Yep.
Vikings at Seattle. I took Seattle.
Dang.
Seahawks.
I'm looking at a 12-point favorite on Seattle on this one.
Who's
Yeah.
Minnesota's quarterback?
Yeah, that's an issue. Taking guys from Michigan might not be the best move at quarterback. I don't know.
Oh, Lord. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I really don't. Oh. All right. Who you guys got? Seattle?
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yeah. All right. Buffalo at Pittsburgh. I took Buffalo.
I take Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's at home.
Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers in this one.
I'm taking the Bills, even though I don't want to in any way. Just until I see Pittsburgh play better, I can't really confidently take them.
All right. Raiders at the Chargers. I took the Chargers.
I got Chargers.
Chargers.
Yeah, it should be an easy win for them today.
All right. And the Broncos at the Commanders. I took the Broncos.
Is Daniel still out?
I think he's cleared to return.
I think so too, but I'm still taking Denver.
Yeah, I'm going with Denver because Daniels is going to come into this game rusty, and Denver's just playing lights out on defense. Nick Bonato is having an excellent year. It's going to be tough for Daniels to come back against that team. So I'm going to go with the Broncos.
If Daniels is playing, I'm taking Washington.
I got the Broncos on this one. This is my lock of the week.
All right. And Monday Night Football. This should have been my lock. Giants at Patriots. The Giants are officially the first team to be eliminated.
I'll go Patriots.
I'm going Patriots.
Jackson Dart is cleared concussion protocol. That makes zero difference in this game. Patriots still win.
I like the Giants in this one. How many games have the Giants lost in the final few minutes of football games? New England's had the easiest schedule in all of football. I think they get caught with their pants down. And the Patriots left tackle and left guard are out.
Ooh.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So, guys, there was the NFL Sunday Morning Show. We actually had a lot of good conversations today, especially the questions coming from the chat. So, we're going to have a segment going forward about questions from the chat. So, starting next week, make sure you have your questions handy, and we'll answer them right here on the show. So, with that being said, like, share, subscribe. Big C, you got anything coming up?
Just Finn Posse podcast, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Talk about Dolphins. Talk about all the teams in the NFL. I interact with each and every person in the chat. Come check it out.
All right. James?
Still doing twice a week. So Monday night recap shows, Saturday morning. Looking forward to the next game. So give us a listen anywhere you find podcasts or check us out on YouTube. Either way.
All right. Nikki?
We got 3-Point Blitz, Pick'ems every Tuesday. 3-Point Blitz is at noon on my channel, Hardcore Sports Network. Pick'ems, a Hardcore Sports Network exclusive with Agent Warrior X, a rising YouTuber in the sport football community. So you can check us out on the network 8 p.m. that day as well. You'll still get some YouTube shorts, maybe an impromptu live throughout the week, but that's what's on tap.
So for me, I got no football today. For me, I get to relax. I got the Sixers game tonight against the Hawks, so I got to stream that. So without further ado, guys, like, share, subscribe. Appreciate everyone tuning in, and we'll catch you all next week. Peace, guys. Have a good one.
Peace.